Joseph Fulmer here, and behind me on the rack I have a 2012 Ram 1500. Today we're going to be installing a set of these Airlift 1000 adjustable air springs on the back end of this truck. Now, before we jump into the video, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button down there. If you've already hit it, hit the notification bell. That way you get your post notifications every time I put a new video up. Don't forget, when this thing's all over, please rate the video. If you have any questions, throw them down in the comments section. Now, we're going to install these Airlift 1000 adjustable air springs in the back of this truck. These trucks from, I believe, 2010 up to current in the half-ton Rams have coil springs in the rear. These Airlift springs, this is an install you can do in your driveway. You can get these things fairly cheap. This is going to be a basic install. We're not installing a compressor with these. You can get compressor options, wireless controllers, all kinds of neat stuff. You can check them out. You can find them on Amazon. I will try and put a link to these down in the description. So anyway, guys, check these out. But like I said, we're going to be putting them in the back of this truck. This guy does do some towing. He runs a lawn care service, and he does haul fertilizer and things like that with the truck. He tows his mowers around with it, so he knows squat. So we're going to get him fixed up. That way he's not squatting anymore. So hang in there. I'm going to get the camera set up, and we're going to start installing these springs.
Alright guys, as you can see, that's the part number for these. They are for Dodge 2 and 4-wheel drives. We're going to open them up. I'm going to show you what comes in the box. And like I said, again, this is just the basic setup. We got nothing special here. No onboard compressor. You just hook an airline, run an airline to the rear of the truck at the rear bumper, and you'll fill these from a tire chuck. So, oh, I thought they had a nice. I just cut both ends of the box out. Woohoo. Okay, so I'm going to open them up. I'll lay this stuff out on top of my cart here so you can see what we've got. And that's one of the air springs. There's the other one. Then we have the Airlift decal. We have fittings for the airlines, mounting hardware, zip ties to zip tie your airlines off. Hopefully I had all that in frame. Airline. These are a hard plastic spacer for the bags. There's the other one. Sorry if the camera work's making you dizzy, guys. And then we have, come here. Oh, get all of our stuff out there. Have our installation guide and an accessory booklet, installation checklist, installer information. You can see all this different stuff. So, if you can get the back end of the truck jacked up where the rear axle is off the ground but the suspension is drooping, so if you jack it up from the frame, put jack stands under the frame if you're working on the ground, that will make this install easier. If you're trying to do this on the ground with the truck sitting on the tires, or with it jacked up by the axle with jack stands under the axle, it's going to be very difficult because the springs are going to be compressed. So if you can let those springs droop, and I'll show you what I mean. You can see here with it being on the lift, these springs are drooped all the way down. And with them being drooped, you have to push that airbag in through the spring. So the more gap you can get in here, the easier it's going to be to get that air spring in. First thing you're going to do, pull the protective cap off the end of the airbag. You're going to roll as much of the air out of here as you can. Completely deflate this bag. These suckers are pretty tough. Put the cap back on. It'll hold deflated. Airlift says to form it into a hot dog bun shape. That's easier said than done. Oh, know about all that. We're going to try, and then we insert it. Watch that cap up through the air spring, or the coil spring. This is quite the wrestling match. I'll give it that. I got about 3/4 of the way in. I gotta get the bottom in. There we go. We'll pull the cap off. Allow it to re-inflate a little bit here as we work some of the kinks out of it. Try and get it straightened up in there a bit. There you go. And you see it's sitting in there nice. Now, we got it through. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to route the hose right up here above the spring. Let me get my flashlight. You can see the hole in the top of the coil bucket up there. Okay, your air line's going to come down through that, and you can see here we're on the outside of the frame. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the air line over the top of the frame from up in here, over and down through that hole, and then we're going to bring the air line over this way. That way there's a T, and we're going to tee in over here near this airbag, and then we can run them out the airline out to the rear bumper when we're done. So I'm going to get that airline started, and then we'll figure out where it's going to go. These hard plastic pieces here, these are protected. They go on top of the spring around your air fitting to protect your air fitting. Okay? So once you fish the airline down, before you attach the airline to the spring, put your protector on, push your airline on, and in our bag we have these nice little hose clamps. These are going to go onto the airline, and that's what's going to hold it on the fitting. So I'm going to go ahead, get a pair of pliers, open this hose clamp up enough to slide it up over this airline. That way it's already there once I get the airline fed in, and all I have to do, hopefully that lens isn't too dirty, guys, and all I have to do is grab it with a pair of pliers and slide it down. Protector, pliers. I think I got it. And go up there and double check with a mirror. I think we got it pretty well on there. Give me a second, we'll be on the other side. We're on the passenger side. Hopefully I've got you in a spot where you've got a pretty good view. Same thing. Smush all the air out of the bag. They say if you roll it up from the bottom is the best way to do it. I'm going to show you a little trick with the airline. When you go to put your second airline on, instead of trying to cut this line and figure out how much you need, where you're going to put your T exactly, take your other end, put that in the airline on this spring. Then you can move your lines around, figure out where you want your T, and you just cut your excess out of the center for your tail line going back to the rear. That'll save you some time, and it may save you from having little pieces of line cut off that you could have used later. This kit does come, it is set up with 2 of these valve stems, so you can independently, you can set this up where you can tee these together and air both bags up to the same pressure at the same time, or you can air up one bag independent to the other. So we're going to set this particular truck up so that each bag, both bags are tied together. That way they both air up at the same time. Because most of what he is doing with this is, that makes it a lot simpler. If you were doing a kit, maybe with an onboard air compressor where you could control each bag individually, that would be a little bit different. So, don't forget your protector to go on the top. Then we're going to route our line up and over the frame, and then down into, if I can find it, down into the top of the spring. Slide our protector in, slide the airline, and look, slide the airline through the protector, and then we'll lift the protector up and out of our way. And then I'm going to show you another trick. Now, to get these on, handy dandy spray bottle we keep here in the shop with some dish soap and water. Spray it right up inside that line. It won't hurt the airbag. It won't hurt the airline. But it'll lubricate it and make it slide over that fitting a lot easier. And then once it dries off, it won't, that line's not going to slide off. Another little trick, might be a little easier, is to go through feather well, where you can see it to make sure it's all the way on there. That one's clamped on, our protectors are in. I know there's not a lot of light. Okay, but here are our airlines. Now, I really want to run my airline. I'm going to run them, I'm going to bring them across. Hopefully I'll stand you guys up. I'm going to bring them across this frame rail. We want to keep them away from this exhaust. So what I'm probably going to do is get my length set on this line, cut it, and then I'll make sure I get it tied way up here away from the exhaust. Airlift says 2 inches. And then this line for this bag, I'm going to bring right over here, and I'm going to run them right with this wiring harness over here. I don't know if you guys can see that wiring harness, but I'm going to run them right along with that wiring harness down this side of the frame. So I'm going to put my T right here. You want to make sure you leave a little slack. There's my line. I just pulled it over the other side of the frame to give me a little more to work with. There's that. The hose clamp on. The dish soap. Make her nice and slippery. We're going to slide our T. Route that. Back up and over this section of the frame. Then we're going to take our other line here. I want to go up with this vent line for the rear axle. I'm going to use that to tie this line off to. And then I'm going to go over top of the cross member. It's right here in front of the spare tire. I'm going to come across the top of that cross member up there. And I need to make sure I leave a little bit of slack at the top of that bag so the bag can move around without pulling on the line. Right there we have it. That's on. I'm just going to move my hose clamp up. go. Alright. Now, get one more tie out here to hold this line from wiggling around too much. Okay, so guys, anytime you're using zip ties, be nice to the next guy that's got to work on it. When you cut them with a utility knife, that way they're nice and smooth. If you cut them with a pair of side cutters, they leave a really sharp little edge. There's two. Another one over here. Alright. Now, hopefully you guys can still see what I'm doing. We're gonna run our airline out the rear end. Now, to set this up, run one of the nuts down on it. Actually, that goes on the outside. Lock washer. Then that'll go through the body, rubber washer, flat washer, and a nut. It'll be like this. A nut, and then the body will be right there. This will be easy. Unibit. We're gonna drill our hole right here above. And I've already checked. Make sure there's nothing on the backside. And oh boy. There we go. All right. And you see right up here is where it comes through. So we'll run our air hose. We'll take our air hose up and we'll feed it right out through that hole. Whoops. Just like that. I'll get this zip tied off. Then I'll show you what we're doing. They give you nice little valve caps to put on there. But before we put that on, we're going to get about 5 pounds in them and keep them from moving around. Take our soapy water and check all of our fittings for leaks. That's 61 pounds. They want normal ride pressures at 5 pounds with no load. I'm at 60, they recommend leak testing at 30. So we're going to get the same look. None of our lines are popped off. Here. None there. That's 60 pounds in that bag.
Hopefully you guys got a good idea what it takes to install these air springs. These are actually some really good, really nice springs. A couple of things to keep in mind on these Ram trucks. They do not recommend anything above 35 PSI in the spring. So keep that in mind. You don't want to go over 35 pounds in those air springs. You shouldn't need to. Now, they do recommend you keep 5 PSI in them at all times just to keep them inflated, keep them from bouncing up and down inside the spring where they'll wear on the airbag. It just kind of holds them steady in there. They also recommend air them up to 25, 35 pounds. Let them sit overnight, check them, see where they are. If they lost more than 5 pounds, check all your fittings for leaks again. One thing I can tell you, as far as setting these springs, okay, to get an idea of where your springs need to be, or how much air pressure you need to have in them depending on your load, if you're hauling the same load all the time, the easiest thing to do is to measure unloaded, measure your distance from the top of your tire to your inner fender well, okay? Now Airlift recommends airing the springs up before you load the truck and then removing air to get your desired ride height. So definitely that is their recommendation. I don't know what would happen if you tried to load the truck and then air them up. I don't know if that's going to cause an issue or not. But either way, if you take this measurement, then you either air your springs up, load the truck, or load the truck and then air your springs up. Basically where you want to be is you want to have this measurement the same. That'll keep your ride height the same with your load. So you can simply do that with just a tape measure. Not a big deal. Real simple, just get them set up. So guys, here in the future, I may be doing an install on these on my truck. Now, just so you know, depending on the lift kit, these will work with lifted trucks if they use the stock coil springs. If they use anything other than a stock coil spring, they probably will not work. You'd have to contact Airlift. Now guys, do me a favor. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to rate it. Hit the subscribe button. Questions in the comments section. I will see you on the next one, guys. Don't forget, get out there and get your hands dirty. You might have a little fun doing it.